Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are going into the penultimate hour of today's episode of RollPlay Nebula Jazz. Isn't that a good word? Penultimate. I love it. So there's a 5 to deal with here, and you're going to jettison a bunch of cargo, and let's see how that goes. You are defending quickly, so go ahead and make that roll, Rex.
Yeah. So before we'd even encountered the scepter on a different planet, Eugene had met a couple of shady dealers who were shifting some Gronlik fuel pods at a really, really good price. And Eugene, as clever as he was going to buy them in bulk and sell them on for a profit. So we have a cargo hold full of this
flawless
shit.
idea. I still think it's a great idea.
What Eugene wasn't told is that this fuel pod was rotated out of production. It's been replaced by a farsuit. They're garbage. So we can't sell the stuff. We haven't been able to sell the stuff. And there's just mountains of this stuff just sitting at the back of the cargo hold. So Rex has been pushing all of this to the front. And
just crates full of Beanie Babies.
Crates full of stuff. And he grabs a breathing mask and straps himself to the side of the ship. And out of nowhere, he just smacks the back of the hangar door, and it just shoots open, and all the fuel pods just get sucked out right into the path of these ships.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see how. let's see if you can scatter them.
Okay.
There you go.
God, right. There we go. We needed it.
Yes,
okay.
Yes,
all right.
yes.
So now with a 5, I'll get a free boost. But you won't take any damage. So unless you want to use that heat-seeking pirate drones or the other steady course, which do you want to do that, or do you want to just let me make a boost?
I'm trying to figure out how I could do it. Could I invoke heat-seeking pirate drones by telling Aurora to shoot the pods?
Well, I mean, you don't even need to do that, right? Like, they're leaky. These fuel pods are leaking heat and energy anyway. So
true.
Yeah, you can.
So I'll invoke the heat-seeking pirate drones and say that these Gronlik fuel pods, the source of fuel that they emanate has a way above average temperature, and they're just exuberating heat. And so all these ships are seeing is just like suddenly a huge cloud of orange where the ship was.
So we see out of their sensors, they're kind of janky scratch built sensors, suddenly this cloud of heat, and they go into a frenzy just diving onto these pods and chewing on them. And that's what buys you the extra turn. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
cool. Quick thinking. All right, Quinn, your turn.
I want to jack or hack it so that our emissions are less detectable.
Okay. All right. And so what action do you envision this is? Is this, are you creating an aspect? Or is this like an attack?
I want this to be something that if they try to attack us, it's a negative thing on them.
Yeah, so like something that'll help whoever's defending the ship. Yeah, so you want to create an aspect. Okay, sure.
What
if
you like? I was gonna say, what if you just like took the cap off the amount of coolant that could be provided to the engine, and then just like rapidly cooling down or something?
Yeah.
So our heat, whatever the case may be, our heat trail dissipates, and we are harder to detect as we go through this debris field.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, yeah, make a clever roll. You're gonna try to overcome their sensors. They're not particularly complex little creatures, and the ship is used to being abused by you, and you're hacking. So let's say difficulty is 2. There you go. All right.
And I want to use a thing to jack or hack it if that's not high enough.
No, it is. Yeah, 2 is fine.
Okay. Never mind. I'll save my point.
Yeah, 2 will give you one invoke on it. So super cool. There you go. So y'all have.
I love the idea that there's like just claw holes all over our ship.
Oh yeah.
Where like in any situation, he just needed to get to some wires and save us. He just rips open the hull a little bit.
Rips open a panel.
There's just like it's like our ship's been attacked by some like lizard beast. but it's actually just our crewmate who's like, well, I need to use the wires, and just peels back like the wall.
Exactly. Yeah, they're called Quinn panels.
Yeah,
And,
Quinn panels. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yes, Quinn.
I
so
know
you-
where everyone is and what everyone does.
Yeah. Just
I
'cause it
hate
doesn't
when
make
people
sense to
move
anyone
stuff
else.
around. Yeah, please.
So we see your clawed hand fall onto like a valve, and you just like turn it, and then there's a hiss, and the pipes on the valve turn like white, and we hear the crackling of like moisture freezing on the outside of them as the coolant system goes into overdrive, and the ship is now in super cool mode. And as the drones fly out of the cloud, having realized that it's not actually a ship, they're gonna have a harder time finding you. So Aurora, you can as they come out of the heat cloud, you see them, they're painted targets. You can go ahead and attack them.
Fire away.
Yeah, do it. All right.
Well.
So forceful of 3. I'll roll to defend. And I got a 0. All right.
Oh, shit.
So
Finally.
now you've got super cool available. You've got steady course available for free. Basically every boost that you do, every boost of 2 is going to make this hit
Swear
harder.
to fucking God, if you do not get a 0, Pocket.
So this is the thing. You can just add these. You can spend both of those to put that up to a what, a 7.
I invoke both of them. Aren't they all dead?
There are 6 of them right now. Yeah, if you invoke both, then this fight's over.
Yeah.
Six
I'm gonna invoke
damage. Ooh.
I guess it'll be almost over because I'm gonna invoke. I'll obviously invoke the one aspect that I have to.
Okay.
I can do some invoking. You tell me how many you want to invoke, and
I'm gonna invoke both and try to do as much damage as possible. It's like when it lights up on my screen, it's just like instant. I know exactly what to do and just fire away.
Okay. All right. So you're doing a 7 total to me because you've invoked 2. So you're doing a 7. I got 0. I got like 7 to make up for. I'm gonna spend some points because I've got a bunch of shit that I can invoke. So I'm gonna spend 1 point. I'm gonna invoke the fact that they're all over the place. They're everywhere. So you're desperate to keep up with the number of targets. So now we're 7 and 2. And then I'm going to spend another point on your confused internal systems. So the ship's own damage is making it harder for you to fire.
Wait, didn't you say that we can't invoke those? That those aren't aspects?
No, you
They're just
you can't.
consequences?
They're his
They're
aspects.
Yeah, they're consequences.
we
I
can't
can
invoke
always
them.
invoke them because they're bad for you. They're ways that you're hurt, and I can hit you on them. It would be the same as if you had an NPC that had a consequence that you invoked. You
It's
could
like
keep doing it.
Adam can't use super cool. Super cool is ours.
Yeah.
So like those things are his that he could use against
Okay.
us.
Yeah. So I'll use 2, so we're at 7 and 4. And then I'll use my last point for let's say depleted batteries. So y'all are just pushing the ship to its limits to try to stay afloat here. So it's 7 and 6. So you blow up one of them, unless Aurora, you want to spend another point from your pool to get rid of the last one. But I don't have any more points after this.
No, I think I'm gonna keep it what it is. So.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this would have in a perfect situation if the ship weren't damaged and there were so damn many of them, you would have been able to take them all out. But it's just like there's just chaos. The ship is screaming, and you don't understand what it's saying. And even though you're in your kind of combat like trance, it's still lots of targets to deal with. Eugene, what are you gonna do?
Firstly, I would like to, on one of the screens, tap like a couple of different buttons that have just alien writing on them, but then a big button that says mute shows up, and I just slam it so that we don't have to listen to the actual like ship talk to us anymore.
Okay, perfect.
Ah.
Yes, it suddenly
Man,
shuts
that's
up.
so much better. And then and I'm gonna kind of like turn part of my body to face Quinn and say, are we good? I don't even know what's going on out there. Like, what's happening?
And Quinn just looks over and is like, keep flying.
Okay. Do I go to the planet? Do I stay here? What do you want me to do?
Don't stay here.
Great. All right, I'm gonna set a course and try to go toward Slyn.
Okay, so now you can fly defensively the same way you were before. You can try to like recharge that steady course, or you could fly a little more like aggressively and try to get them to crash as they chase you.
I'm gonna stay steady.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So same as before. You're rolling careful.
Mm.
And difficulty is 2 to keep on course. You crash right in the side of a planet, you blow up.
No.
You're dead. Everyone else is fine, but you die horribly, hurled from the ship.
Yeah,
right?
you get hurled out of the cockpit.
Yeah, you just freeze in space, and then as an ice cube, just blow up. I mean, do you want to spend your last point there?
One of the
Eugene,
cooling vents
or-
ruptures, and you splinter into a million pieces of frozen Eugene. The end. And everyone else is like, "Wow, that was cool."
So if you don't do anything, if you fail this roll, you're trying to create an aspect. I just get to create a boost for myself and not for you. It
No.
probably has something to do with your
No,
total
I'm using
inability
my
to
last
fly.
one. No.
Okay. All right. What are you
Fuck-
invoking?
Fuck this. I'm invoking that I am the future richest slime in the galaxy, and you know what? This is my time to look cool.
Okay. All right. So you do indeed look cool. You create steady course, which anybody can now use.
Yeah.
What does Eugene look like? Cool under fire. Like what? There's a moment here where you think you're gonna crash, but what do you do instead? How does this look?
So Quinn is like saying, just keep flying and all that. And I go, you're right. You all rely on me so much for me to keep calm and to focus on the objective. No, I understand. I get it, Quinn. You all rely on me to be calm under pressure. I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to do that for you, buddy. I'm going to be the captain that you all need right now.
While you're talking, Quinn
Little
sort
captain
of
hat.
Quinn takes
It's like,
Yeah, you just reach over and grab like one of those big like master and commander hats and just bloomp.
An admiral's hat.
Yeah, an admiral's hat. Yeah, Commander Eugene.
I love the idea that after this whole speech, you like see Eugene like minimize something on the dashboard, and it's just like a fucking estimated value of the scepter that's on the ship.
Yeah.
So he like gives all this spiel, but really it's just like that scepter's worth so much money. Minimize. I have to make it.
Oh my god,
what
I love the idea.
What were you gonna say, Quinn?
nothing. Your hat's way better.
I love the idea of Quinn in a
fine.
giant
fine.
Commodore hat.
But
I thought-
it's made of slime. Your hat is made of slime. It's a
Yeah,
slime.
of course. No, yeah. If this was a TV show, it would look like I was reaching off screen to grab something, but really, this bit of me just
That your aunt
transformed
turns
into a hat, and then just like got put on my head.
And then it sort of like drips back into you.
Amazing. All right, so cool. You get that boost. You're on a steady course. Rex, what do you want to do?
What we got left? 2 left?
No, there's still 5. Still 5 of them.
5 left.
Now, I don't have any points left, and I have nothing that I can invoke for free. So if you can think of a good plan here, you'll be able to do some damage.
Who's after me?
They are.
Jackers.
Yeah, the auto jack 2000s. They're gonna get you.
Okay. Rex kind of like I'd say the rear guns are pretty close to where Rex is right now.
Mhm.
And Rex kind of like runs over to where Aurora is and leans in, and I think, can I just create something within the scene?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do, but yeah.
Just like there's like a giant asteroid, and you can see it's like cracked and damaged. And as we zip past it, I want to wrestle the controls off Aurora and fire at the asteroid to create like a field of debris behind us.
So I think that Aurora is like in a different area, right? She's firmly like in the seat in the thing. You're in the back of the ship. You have your space helmet on. The ship is open.
Yeah.
And you
so could I
realize-
like create the scene and then like message her or something?
Well, if you realize, I think the thing is here, and this, I think this is, maybe you'll agree, but I think this is much more Rex's style, much more heroic. You're gonna have to just lean out of the ship and shoot this thing with your gun. Like, You can't get to the
Oh,
ship's guns,
yeah,
but you've got
you're on.
one on your belt. Like,
You're on.
Wait, whoa, what?
Iron sights.
Wait,
Iron
wait.
sights.
yeah.
He's gonna roll down the window and be
He's-
like,
no,
No.
the window's already unrolled, man. He's
the door's
in the
still
back.
open. I just ejected all the stuff.
Yeah,
Wait,
he's
just
just
hold-
hanging out the butt of
hold
the
every. Just like,
All right, so here's what happens.
how did he not get sucked out? Hold on. Well, how does our ship work?
Because
Someone
I mentioned
tell me.
I mentioned I
He
strapped
strapped
myself
himself
in
in.
before I hit
Yeah.
the button.
Keep
Wait,
in
but
mind-
you're losing oxygen. What
He's
is?
got
No, I put a mask on. I explained that. You should have been listening.
I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening. Obviously, you
I
nailed
put a
it. You're
Star-Lord-esque mask on, strapped
Dude,
myself in, and hit the button.
you figured it out. Clearly, every possibility that I thought to get you killed is impossible.
All right.
We're about to win.
So
Continue.
here's what happens.
The
I
thing
reach
is-
over and I grab like a tow cable, and I
Yeah.
just like hitch it to my belt. And then behind me, there's like a huge glass panel with like a rocket launcher in it. And it says break if shit goes down. And you see me just like elbow the glass and grab like this plasma launcher. And then I like jump out the back of the ship and just
All right,
aim
stop
at
it.
the asteroid.
No, you
we cut to an exterior shot of the ship, right? So you've just flown out of this field of fire from the leaking tanks. So the ship is going, and then this little like wire spools out of the cargo hold with Rex stuck in the end of it, holding a bazooka, basically,
Yep,
just like
yep.
trailing out, and the swarm of creatures now flying behind Rex, like flying up behind you, and you're turning around with the weapon. You can either shoot at them, or what do you do? So you
Right.
zip out behind the ship in slow motion.
So like you initially don't realize the asteroid's there, and it looks like Rex is going to fire at the ships, and then you see him just whip around and fire at this asteroid that's just above them. And let's see what happens.
Yeah,
Right?
totally. So you're shooting at the asteroid with the intent to blow the asteroid up so that all the pieces hit the drones, right?
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
Okay. All right. Sure. All right. So you're gonna attack. You're attacking. I mean, it's flashy or forceful, whichever you prefer. And yeah.
Would okay. All right, let's do flashy. I mean, this is flashy as fuck, right?
Yeah.
are hanging out
It's
the
super
back of
flashy.
a fucking
Yeah.
spaceship.
Yeah. What do I
Yeah.
That's
need?
pretty flashy.
I'll defend. So you're making an attack. So
Okay,
you-
okay.
Well, they're not great at defending, and I have no more points.
All right,
so-
I got 2.
Okay. All right. Now I'll roll, and then you can decide if you want to. You can invoke. You still have steady course open to you.
Mhm.
Let's see how I do. All right. It's a tie.
All right,
So-
yeah, I'll invoke steady course.
Okay. So how do you do that? Is it neutral in that it just happens, or do you tell Eugene like hold it steady as you leap out of the thing? Are you talking to Eugene?
I hear what the radio is like. Eugene's in this state of panic where the radio's just left on perpetually. So I hear Eugene like
I don't
yelling
know
at
what you're
Quinn.
talking about. I am cool as a cucumber.
I hear Eugene and Quinn having this discussion where he's like, I'm going to hold it steady and take it to the planet. And Rex takes that as his cue while the ship's being held steady to be the hero that they need. The compelling hero that they need.
Awesome. So while you may not have the internal supplies to be compellingly heroic, your support, the steady course set by your shipmate, allows you to pull off this bananas move. Cool. So you fire up, and we see the kind of rocky asteroid explode, sending debris after the ship, and we can see it bouncing off your helmet and like pummeling you as you blow through it. And then the drones behind you, we see several small explosions as you blast a bunch of them. There's one swarm left, one swarm of 3, and I think that they all hone in not on the ship but on Rex himself and come barreling in, and they're gonna try to chew Rex up.
What? I thought there
Uh,
was only one left.
There's only one swarm.
One
of 3.
swarm.
Yeah.
So how many did I
Really?
take out? 2?
Yeah. You took out the last swarm, so I only get
I'm not
one
even mad.
attack.
That's pretty
I only
fucking
get one
impressive,
attack.
man. I took out 2 with
pretty good.
with a handgun.
So here they come, Rex. Here they come. And then you can tell me how you defend against them. I got 2. What do you do? Oh, there you go. I got -2. That's terrible. Go ahead. How do you defend yourself, Rex?
Rex fires. He's got like one more in the chamber, and he sees the piranha coming at him, and he fires it down to propel himself up over the
Just
ship.
rocket jump. Awesome.
Yeah, he just rocket jumps.
In space?
Yeah, that's what would happen, dude. If you discharged like a plasma weapon or some shit in space, the force would move you.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Just you just fly
Yeah.
up out of the way.
How do you think fucking rocket packs work? Jetpacks
All right,
and shit,
go
man.
go ahead and roll your quick.
This is actually flashy.
Oh yeah, no, it totally is. Yeah,
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
you're doing out here qualifies for
Yeah.
sure. All right, no problem. Yeah, so they come flying in to get you. I think one of them blows past you and flies into the ship, like it ends up in the cargo hold and is like bouncing around inside the cargo hold. The other two swarm past you, trying to bite you, and they can't get at you. Quinn, what are you gonna do?
God, man, can I try to cleverly reel him back in so that fuck. You know what? I want to shoot shit out the back too. I'm tired of not shooting shit out the back.
Quinn, there's
shit out the back.
a piranha in the hangar.
There's a piranha in the hangar.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
No.
You can hackerjack that shit.
I will say this.
No.
So you have a long line with some bait on the end of it, and these things are trying to bite at the.
Right,
if you
but,
reel
like-
them in, they're gonna chase him into the ship.
Yeah, but that's like
I mean, that can be fine. That could be a thing. You could trap them all inside the ship.
I just, you know what? Okay, I want to go back to the hangar and I want to
Just
help
cut the rope.
out.
Just cut the rope. Send me into space.
I want to help out. I want to help out the best I can.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go back into the hangar and try to. Oh my god! I put on a mask.
Okay. Hold the
Yes.
helmet on.
Yes. Come on, Quinn. I need you. Come on, Quinn.
I jump on the piranha that's in the hangar.
Okay.
I
All
wanna
right.
ride it into space.
Are you just wrestling it like
I want to ride a piranha
like Crocodile
into
Dundee
space.
style? You just
I'm
I mean, they're
riding
about-
him into space.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
riding
about
this piranha into space.
they're about motorcycle size. So you
Yep.
run in, leap onto the back of the piranha drone.
I want to
and
hack
attempt
him. I want to hack that piranha drone and use him as my new space motorcycle.
Okay, right.
Let's do this.
Yes.
Good.
Let's do this.
So let's have you make an attack, and
So
if you can do one, if you can beat one of them, then yeah, I'll give you that free a free boost, and narratively you'll have control over one of the drones when you destroy it. So are you attacking? I think it sounds like you're attacking forcefully.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. All right. Let's see. So it attempts to defend itself from your hacker jacking, and I get a two.
Amazing.
And then I ride a fucking piranha into space.
Not only that, but you beat me by 4. So you destroy the other 2 piranhas as part of this action. So describe to me how that looks. So Quinn emerges into the back, and there's this like horrifying lawnmower thing flying around, chewing on the walls. Describe yourself stealing control of it and then using it to destroy the other 2 drones.
So yeah, Quinn went back there originally because he was gonna help Rex because he was just like tired of
Evil
doing
Quinn.
nothing. And he runs. The door's open. He sees this thing in the hangar, start munching on the walls and shit. And he's like, "What?" And they stare each other down. They have a moment. And Quinn like charges at him, and it charges at him, and he slides slow mo under it. And you see him like jacker hack the bottom of it as he slides underneath it.
Like
And
a
then the
little
thing just goes, like,
gesture.
across and
Like,
falls over.
it looks like you're tickling it. Like
Yeah.
you slap.
He slides underneath it, and then when he comes up, he's standing, and the thing like falls down, and he jumps on the back of it, and it's sort of like a space stallion. It's like, "Woo!" But except it's a weird piranha.
Right. He tries to buck you off at first, like,
But
no.
it can't. And I like rub the top of it. I'm like, let's go to work. And then and all you see is Rex hanging out the back of the ship, and then this badass
You
piranha
see this
bot
like
flies
freeze
by
frame
him.
motion of like Rex's face as he's hanging on, and then you see like Quinn's face, and then you see like this like screen with a line down the middle that just shows like Quinn just riding out on a piranha cycle right past Rex, and Rex is like winking at him.
And and I like go past these two, and I just like the piranha bites the ass end of one of them, and it like spirals out of control, and then it hits the other one. It does a Death Star TIE fighter thing where it hits the other one, and they both go and fly off. and then Quinn just sort of like looks and gives like a boop, and then heads back inside because I'm keeping this thing forever. I'm gonna have the coolest pet / piranha droid robot.
I'd
mount
say like
ever.
you go close enough to Rex that he like grabs onto the tail and you like pull him into the hangar again, and the door's just like shut.
Yeah, I dig it. So at some point you'll need to name your new space piranha robot motorcycle mount. But yeah, it's about as smart as a horse, and it'll be a new option for kids to buy this action figure.
Right.
You just
Damn right
gotta
it is.
fucking believe in the ridiculous, and it can happen.
You were right. I was trying to come up with like good strategies, and you were so right. F it. F strategy. Mount the piranha and fly.
Welcome to Nebula Jazz, motherfucker.
That's right.
So the scene ends with the you flying into the back of the ship and Eugene piloting the ship out of the ring of terror and heading down into the atmosphere of the planet.
And as they fly, you can slightly hear the sound of Tolochu regaling everybody with yet another part of the Bliksnort prophecy.
Totally. Yeah,
of him riding a fish through the stars.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and he will tame the great whale of space. Yeah. There's totally like a thing about. Yeah, and in the ancient carvings, it's a lizard man riding on like a literal like a big goldfish or something like a koi. And perfect. Yeah, and so just with like religious fervor, he regales
the carp of the cosmos. That's the prophecy.
Exactly. He shall tame the mighty carp.
He shall ride atop the carp of the
ride
cosmos.
It into the stars. Beautiful. It's great. I love it. So yeah, what are these landing coordinates? Where do we see the ship go on the planet?
I mean, at this point, like, I've just tried to get us even a little bit back on course. Because I think originally I was given an area of the planet to aim for, but now it's just like, we need to get out of here. Like, we need to get out of this just debris-infested area and get closer to the planet.
Yeah, no, you've cleared the ring of debris, which you had to fly through because the ship would have been detected by the quarantine field around the planet.
Right.
So you've skirted the debris field. You've emerged on the other side safely. You're inside the quarantine field now. You can head down to the ruined surface of Slin. So where are you going on the planet? When we transfer from space, we get the diagonal wipe from space to the planet's surface. Where do we see the ship headed? What's the establishing shot look like here?
Quinn.
So the ship heads down through as it comes down through the clouds, which are very almost yellow, and they're like, it's like a disgusting cloud. Like even the windshield at the front of the ship, it seems like kind of gross, like there's a thick oil maybe. There's something not right about it.
Well, windshield wipers start going.
Yeah, but it like smears.
It's like you're like flying through a grease trap, like you're just smearing like goop around on the okay.
And there's a noticeable temperature increase as we get closer to the surface. Like it's definitely a warm, muggy, gross planet. And in the distance, you can see the remains of what was probably once a beautiful city made out of some sort of organic material that it's like skyscrapers and things, but it seems almost in ruins. But there are people there. You can definitely tell people are living there, but it's sort of like no one's bothered to take care of anything. I mean, it's all kind of a mess. And then there's like starports and things, but the ships are just there's no one flying in and out. It's like just unused starports. And
I think there's a bunch of like grounded ships that are covered in like local like flora, like there's vines coming through their windows, and maybe we see like a group of lizard men like warming themselves around like half functioning ship engine that's like giving off this faint red glow. And it's all kind of got this like post-apocalyptic vibe, and that it used to be very, very strong. And I think we see in the background, set into a like a distant, like hazy through the fog and the pollution, we can see a like some kind of ancient-looking structure of like 6 like towers, but it's way off in the distance. We can just see its shadow through the gloom.
Yeah, and it's very obvious that in that area is just that's clearly where all the roads, or what you think are roads, like whatever they used to be roads, everything leads to that area. It's like it seems very like a circle, and then from it just moves out from there, and it seems very orderly, or at least what once was orderly before it was like covered by time and people not caring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So should we land like we're totally normal people? Like,
well, no matter what, no one comes here, so
okay.
we're already totally not normal for just flying in.
Okay.
So it really doesn't matter where we land. Wherever we land, lizard people are gonna be like, "What the shit?"
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like it's illegal to come here if you're a member of the Imperium. If you're one of the Imperium worlds, and also like there's no natural resources here. There's no, like, it used to be the core of an ancient empire, but now it's nothing. Now it's a ruin. It's garbage.
Yeah, and
so
much like
nothing.
Yeah, much like other empires and stuff, the core planet, the main planet, became like a massive city because they got all the resources from everywhere else. So the minute they lost those resources, it like there's nothing on this world that you can farm, or like there's just a rock.
Yeah. Just lots of like terrible dust storms and and ruin otherwise. Okay, cool. So you find a relatively uncluttered space to set down. Maybe it used to be like an open. It's not necessarily a port, because those are all littered with ruined, rusted out ships. I imagine everything, like all the shots on this planet, have like an orange or a yellow filter on them.
Yeah.
Everything is very rust colored. The palette is all like browns and reds. And yeah, through this swirling silt storm, you find like maybe an old park or plaza or something, and like set the ship down amidst the trash there. And so the ship settles down and goes into self-repair mode, because it's pretty banged up. And yeah, because of the way the ship's mechanics work and stuff, you only took a 2-point consequence, so the ship will be fine by the next time you fly it. It's getting its systems unconfused.
Sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what now, Quinn? You brought your friends to this abandoned world. What are you gonna do?
So as we land and the rear of the ship, or the hatch, opens up and we come down sort of the walkway, I look around and correct me if I'm wrong, the original reason we were going to come here was there was something here that was going to help us with the cigarette, or what was our original reason for coming here, so I don't goof this?
I thought that it had to do with the scepter.
Oh, that's right. The scepter. We were gonna like scan it here or some nonsense.
I believe the original reason you wanted to come back was because the Serpentis, the council, had some dealings with the guy who has been like framing you basically with the Duke. Duke Mako.
Yeah.
Okay. So the walkway comes down, and I'm the first one off the ship. When I turn around and I tell everyone, like, for the first time, looks like you're gonna be the hated ones, so be careful. Lizard men do not take kindly to strangers. And then I look around, and so far there's no one around, but I'm like, we have a long way to go, and we have to get to the council chambers.
All right, buddy, lead on. Splat, splat.
Okay.
Yeah, Quinn looks back at Rex. He's like, you may want to bring a weapon.
Rex just kind of like chuckles and like pats you on your broad shoulder as he walks past and goes, "This ain't my first rodeo on Slim, big guy."
and Quinn gives him a look because he knows that rodeo is definitely code word for banging a lizard lady. He's no dummy. He knows that. He knows whatever happened, it wasn't like shooting people. He was here and he was getting laid by a lizard. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, Rex loves the sexy slither of the lady snake. Yeah.
And Quinn's like, we don't have many options, but I may know someone who can get us into the council. And Quinn like pulls up a data pad, and on it is his sister, who is in fact one of many. He has a big family, huge family. Her name is Nuwa Wadjet Atsalak.
Okay.
And she is, part of his clutch. Is that a good word for it? Whatever.
Yeah.
However
totally.
many eggs there were, she was one of them. So they're not like, they know each other exists and they have that familial bond. But like, there were so many, they aren't like, hey sis, how's it going? Like,
Well,
yeah,
and I mean, she's like, she's a female of the species and has a lot more like political power and responsibility than you ever would. And so is she like, I guess your two choices here is either she's had to be like, you are no brother of mine, like in public, and be like, as says the council, I reject you, and you're cast out from my clutch. Or has she suffered politically because she didn't do that, right? Like, is she also sort of an outcast?
She was always the kind one in our family, and so no matter what she went from early age, she always had some. She had the emotion of empathy, if that like she emotionally felt for people, even though you're not supposed to, and so but she hid everything else very well. And the reason why she didn't turn her back on me is because when we were younger, I always would stand up for her when everyone else would like give her shit, because she would like care about other people when you're not supposed to. And so, unfortunately, the consequence of her not only caring for me and what I was going through, but also just generally being kind of an outcast is that she is like the associate assistant governor of like an outer prefecture, and just is like she's going nowhere. That's the highest she'll ever achieve, and she is just a glorified secretary to
right. And that's your fault, not hers, right?
Right. It's totally my fault. She was just put there, and she's never gonna get any higher.
Well, your whole clan is like cursed by what you did.
Yeah, let's just say they're not. Yeah, many have killed themselves rather than live such shitty lives, and there are many in my clan that are out in the galaxy because they're like, we gotta leave, like we can't be here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna try to go see her. So when you arrive on the planet, you get out into the swirling atmosphere and everything. Yahe and Tlochu emerge from the ship, and Tlochu comes over to you, Quinn, and he places a hand on your shoulder and looks solemnly at you, and he says, "My clanmate and I owe you a debt of honor." And he looks and he says, "But we must return to our people. Yahe believes that you are the chosen one." And he squints his eyes at you and he says, "But I remain skeptical. Please." And he looks over, and Yahe's just looking at you like from a distance, just kind of giving you the like, "Oh wow, this is great. This is the beginning. I was here for it." He says, "We cannot know for certain if you are the Bliksnort." And he looks pointedly up at the 6-towered structure in the back, and he says, "If you choose to undergo the trials, please let us know."
God damn it!
And he looks over and
you have to.
And he says, "Yeah, you can see him struggling a little bit." And he's like clutching the like jar you gave him, and he says, "It would be our honor to be at your side to fulfill our debt." And Yahe's little tongue just like flicks the air nervously.
In Quinn's hands are the what do we have that listed as? The cache of expensium ×2.
Yep.
And he has it in 2 bags, and he hands one to each. And he's like, "I'll see you there, brothers."
Yeah. So you want to use the expensium?
Yeah, it's theirs after all. I told him that I'd give it to him.
Well, let's have you make a. This is going to be the beginning of a
Eugene's
much
dying
larger
in the background.
of a much
Terrible
larger plan.
idea.
So
Oh no! Don't do that.
Oh no,
let's have you roll, Quinn.
We
Why
couldn't
don't you-
possibly accept all that money. You heard them. They don't want it.
roll. I like this. Roll your flashy. Roll your
Mhm.
flashy here. Against a difficulty of 2. You can invoke the expensium if you want. And we're gonna create a new scene aspect if you can
I
succeed.
want to invoke the expensium. Both
Yeah.
of the expensiums.
Yeah, normally you
them-
can only invoke something once, but I think it makes sense here if you want to do it twice. But go ahead and make that roll.
Yeah, because it's one for each of them. Because I promised them that, so I have to.
Okay, so we got a 6. So let's see. I'm gonna create a new aspect called the Return of the Bliksnort. And this will be present throughout the time that you are on Slin. And anytime that any of you want to invoke the myth of the Bliksnort and just like make shit up about it, this is the aspect for that. To be like, this is the Bliksnort. Do you not see him cloaked in the cloak of whatever? And like you can just like Benny Gesserit at this shit. Just make it up, and if you want to invoke it, it will have been true. So this is how we can all just kind of like treat the planet as though like Yahe and Toluchu will return to their clutch, and they will tell them what happened of their freedom at the hands of the Bliksnort, and the myth will begin to spread throughout the communities of lizardmen.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so people will start to look for ways to justify that. Yes, the Bliksnort has returned. So yeah, that's how that goes. And so they look to you, and and then disappear into the swirling mist. And now you have the long trek through the ruins before you.
Eugene's hand keeps going
Just-
into the
slimy
mist after
hand.
them.
It like stretches after
like
them.
those
Yeah.
sticky hands. Please no, come back.
and then
Come
sort of like oozes back, like, oh.
Yeah, I like to imagine at first the camera angle is just like this, where it's like, but then it goes to a side shot and the arm is
It's
just
like
so
30 feet
fucking
long.
long.
Yeah.
Away.
and then it just flops onto the ground.
Yeah,
and just,
then like oozes back, like.
awesome. So as you this is the travel montage sequence, right? So as you spend the next, because it'll take some time, as you spend the next amount of time, maybe days, traveling the ruins of the formal capital of Slin, we see things like the group of you resting in the shadow of a like tipped over skyscraper. We see Rex wrestling with some kind of like native creature that has like come upon you in the night.
Then having sex with it.
Yeah, sex with it, exactly. We see at one point, you're getting directions from a group of they're like little gecko or like skink men. They have like big like eyes on like extended bows, and they're kind of like wobbling around in different directions. They're wearing loincloths to show how primitive they are. And one of them, their shaman is like putting like paint on everyone's face. And like waving his like stick of bones, and he points, and up on the underside of this piece of concrete that they're like hiding under, you see an image of a lizard man who looks mysteriously like Quinn, holding in each hand like 6 jars, and each jar has like some like scribbled writing over it, and there's this like cave painting that he like gestures to in the firelight. It says one chameleon eye kind of like wobbling around. And so we get all of these little scenes of things that are occurring as you travel through the ruins, and we cut back in on the group of you ascending a fallen building and climbing up to the top through this sandstorm, and you can see ahead of you the dwelling of one of the last sort of civilized dwellings of the lizard men of your people. What does their little like Creesh thing like look like Where have the last sort of some of these last civilized lizard people gotten together, and what does that look like when we see it kind of fade up into view?
So there is a really this is how I imagine most of the buildings. There is a building. I wish I could send you a link. There's a building in Seattle that I see every time we go to PAX that is like a reverse pyramid building. Like the bottom of it is small, and then it like comes up and then becomes a skyscraper, but it looks like a pyramid turned upside down with the skyscraper sticking out of it. It's like a reverse Washington Monument. It's so weird looking. I imagine that's what most of the buildings look like.
It's called Rainier Tower. It's the name of that building.
There you go. That's it.
I knew the one you were talking about. So it's this kind of like, tiny at the bottom, but obviously like much more sci-fi. So it's all kind of like sticking out at strange angles and like extends up into the sky. So we see this thing, and I don't think it's there aren't enough of them enough like lizard folk to like live in it, but that it's going to be defended. There'll be external systems of defense. But this is where your sister and the rest of the lizard folk that will actually be willing to speak with you and engage with you where they live. But also, you're still you're still exiled. You're still an enemy of the people here. So what do? How do you approach?
Quinn tries to have some bravado and not be as afraid as he actually is, and marches up to the entrance and tries to sort of just walk on in like, everything's fine here. Just going to go and see my sister. It's all good.
Okay. Are you making any effort to hide who you are? That you're like,
no,
because you have. Did we talk about this? Do you have like something? Do they brand you or something before you were kicked out so they would recognize you when you tried to return?
No, everyone just like, because nobody, anyone who fails, like if you're outcast, it's one of those things where everyone just knows. Like, even though to outsiders, lizard people look very much alike.
We talked about the scents and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. To lizard people, they know what you smell like, and they know who you are, and like, it's not you can't hide. Like, it's impossible to hide. Even if I was covered in a cloak, they would be like, "Oh, that's you."
Okay. All right. So you begin to approach the building, and I think you see a group of, I don't know, like three lizard men near the entrance. And one of them is like spotting with binoculars, and we see them. We get a close-up shot of them. So they're kind of, again, in that like post-apocalyptic sci-fi garb. So they've got kind of mismatched pieces of armor and like loincloths and bits of like bone and skulls of various like animals that live in this area. They're kind of dressed like predators. Right. And I think that they actually have like, helmets over their lizard heads, maybe just the top part with like optics that allow them to see at a great distance. And so one of them takes this, these binoculars down and gestures to the others. One of them picks up like an energy spear. And as you get closer, the largest of the three takes a few steps forward. And he's got like gray scales and a long tail. And he points the spear out as you get closer and says, in the language of the lizard people, he says, "Who goes there?" And all of you hear this like rasping sort of snarl that you recognize as Quinn's like language. And maybe you smell on the air, the wind shifts a little. You can smell this kind of bitter scent, and he's imparting his emotion. He's being threatening and suspicious, and there's like a tiny tinge of like fear.
In their language, Quinn replies, "You know who it is."
Okay. And he stops and kind of like puffs his chest up a little bit and puts the butt of his energy spear on the ground and switches to the galactic language so you can all hear. And he says, "You're not welcome here, traitor."
Oh, please don't stop hissing on our account.
Quinn sort of walks towards them menacingly, and he's like, "You will let me in."
and he snarls and hisses at you as you get closer, and the other two kind of like bring their spears to bear, and he says, "You're lucky I'm letting you live, Quinn. Turn around and take your off-world slime with you." And
Quinn hears the weird gurgle of Eugene. He like and turns and like gives Eugene like a little glance, and he's like, "That slime's my friend."
The other two emit the hissing sound that you recognize to be Lizard Man laughter, and the boss says, "Of course it is. This is what you've been reduced to? Why have you come back here, Quinn?"
And Quinn looks sort of through them, and he's like, "I need to talk to Nuwa."
He shakes his head and says, "Haven't you brought her enough shame?"
And Quinn looks sort of at the building and how just like it's not even in like a really great section of town. It's like a shitty area, and he's like, "I didn't put her here. You and the council did."
And and he says, "We've heard all about your misdeeds, about your lies, Quinn." And he points the spear like kind of aggressively at you, and he says, "I'm giving you one last chance to turn around, out of my feelings for your sister." And you can see like on his arm, he has the like mating scars that are unmistakable as being like of like your clan. This guy's definitely like, has mated in the past with or is current mate of your sister.
Yeah, he's got like the little heart tattoo with Nuwa inside and an arrow.
Yeah. No, I mean,
pretty
that,
sure
and
sign.
And then also the deep claw marks where she would like lock into him during mating. But yeah, you can see it, and he doesn't thrust out with his spear to scare you. He just like it's to show like, yeah, you have no place here.
And then Quinn walks up to the spear, like right to where it's almost touching his chest.
And I think when you get close to this guy, you recognize him. He's you've seen him before, right before you left. He's a young warrior named Kranich, and he was this like ambitious like social climber.
Really?
And he's been
Kranich, huh?
given, yeah, and
Ambitious.
he's been given. I literally just randomly generated that name.
Yeah, from Rogue One.
He's been given he's been given the honor of being like guardian of the first gate. And so like this position of like being out here and guarding the tower is kind of a big deal. And he fully expects you to back down.
Quinn does not, and walks up to the spear and says, Jesus, he says, "Then you know who I am and why I'm here. I am Quinn Tolatalok, the last guardian of the 12 Serpentis, the damned son of Slyn. Today, your families," and I point to his little like scars on his arm, like, "Today, your families will lament and remember your choice not to run."
And he scowls at you. Let's see if you can overwhelm his resolve. Go ahead and roll. I don't know, forceful. I think maybe forceful or flashy. It feels like you're trying to get him to back down with the force of your personality. Oh yeah, look at that.
Nice.
All right, so I will roll for him. He is not as forceful as you.
Yeah.
So he stares at you, stares at the tip of the spear that's pointed at your sternum, and he looks at your friends, and he lowers the spear, but doesn't like let you pass. And then his voice changes, where it stops being like you're an outsider, and he switches to a tone that feels more like he's appealing to you as like a lizard man. And he says, Even an outlaw such as yourself must remember the rules. Outsiders are not welcome here. You can't expect us to allow these creatures inside the sanctum.
Oh, don't even worry. I got this. And I like really shittily sort of form myself into like what looks like a big lizard, but it's like super fucked up.
Right, like one of those blow up
all right.
T-Rex
It's
costumes.
Yeah.
like a gummy T-Rex.
It's like, all right,
Head
does this
flopping
will
around.
this do?
Yeah.
And the other two like hiss at you, Eugene, and he says to you in lizardese, with a spray of shame and appeal, he says to you, he says, you can't allow these creatures to. We have so little left, Quinn.
Maybe you're holding on to the wrong things. And I sort of like push one of them out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You could just push past them. They're not going to stop you.
Yeah.
Or
I have a question for you, Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
This is it to assume like that these guys would be the same size as you, or are the 12 Guardians like a uniquely large?
Oh no,
muscly
we're
type
like
of lizard.
Yeah, we're way bigger and like bulkier than.
So you're like kind of towering over this guy a little bit. This guy's like a fucking salamander type guy, just being like, you can't pass, and you're just
like they're badasses. Like they're tough as shit, but like they aren't. Like the reason the way the Guardians are is they're just like, it's like the Incredible Hulk versus Iron Man, right? Like one of them's cool, but one of them's just way like bigger and bulkier and stronger. Yeah.
So like the 12 Guardians thing isn't just like you're good enough to be a 12 Guardian. You also have to genetically be like a certain way.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, totally. All right. Yeah. So you enter into the sanctum, and again, like I think at one point this building was probably a center of lizard men power. There was probably very impressive. There was like statuary stuff, but it's all kind of ruined now. There are these like piles of like rust dust kind of everywhere, like rust silt in the corners. And in the center, there's a kind of like paired set of stone steps that lead up into the higher levels of the building. As Chronic lets you leave, he turns over his shoulder and he shakes his head and he says to you, he's like, he says, I don't know what you're doing here, Quinn, but your sister has suffered enough. Do not bring more shame down upon her.
Quinn ignores him completely and just keeps walking forward.
Nice. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you press on. So yeah, I guess like she's probably busy doing stuff. Where do you go? Do you like go and wait for Nua to like come home?
Yeah, I imagine. No, I'd imagine is the minute we enter, already she's been alerted that like your lost, like booted off this world brother is in the building, and he's looking for you. Like this is
right.
Everyone there is very aware that we are here because it is a disgraced lizard man and 3 complete outsiders. We're like massive freaks. Everyone is aware that we exist and are in this area, and probably knew well before we got there that this was that we were there, that we were headed that direction.
Okay. All right.
So there's definitely no blending in for us. And if anything, I'm sure the last member of the council who's still alive, everyone knows that we're on planet.
Okay, cool. What was the name of the still living counselor?
I wrote this down in my description. Vaj Zapothtar is the last living member of the council.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, so she'd be the one that would know the important stuff. But yeah, I think that when you get in there, maybe you see her sister, your sister, you see Nua, and she's so we haven't seen a female of your species. They're more like snake-like, right?
Yeah. She has like a longer neck and like a slimmer body, but like nothing that specifically says that she's a woman. Just she looks vastly different than me, like a polar opposite. Like I'm big and bulky and awful, and she is like a little more frail looking, but that is of course like one of those genetic trick things because the female of the species have like venom and like crazy shit that they
totally. Yeah. Okay, so we see her, and she's sort of standing nervously next to a very elderly looking lizard man. Maybe at one point he was like sort of strong and broad of shoulder, but over a long time he has shed his youthful skin and is now this kind of like pale green color. His eyes are sort of milky. He's sort of like hunched over. He's wearing like long, kind of, again, they all wear these sort of pseudo-apocalyptic stuff. So he's got this kind of like long, scrapped together like robe that he's wearing, and he seems to be just like watching. And he says something quiet to Nua, and Nua takes a few steps forward. Right, so we see her emerge from the dust, kind of in the haze that fills this place, and step into a beam of kind of mottled sunlight from above, and we see the sunlight reflect on her topaz eyes, and she squints. And I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and compel Rex. I know everybody was probably just like ready to pull the trigger on this one, but like obviously Rex, you and Nua have boned. Like clearly, we all knew this was gonna happen. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and just give you that fate point. You can have that. And so instead of what we expect of her stepping forward and being like, Quinn, she blinks a couple of times. The little like clear thing flicks over her eyes. Her tongue flicks the air, and through a fanged mouth, she says, "Rex,"
and break.
And see.
Yeah, totally perfect. So cut to break there, and we'll see how all that goes when we come back.
We all knew that was gonna happen.
Oh yeah, of course. We were ready for it. So stick around. We got another hour of RollPlay Nebula Jazz coming at you. It's going to get all romantical up on Planet Lizard People. Come on back.